Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, greetings everyone and welcome on this Tuesday and a blustery night. Thank you for coming out. I guess we'll have roll call, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Corrales?
Yes.
Solomon?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Gullickson?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Well, just want to again welcome Blaine back. Thank you. It's good to have you back, sitting on the right side of me here. We'll start with meeting like we always do with Mayor Waller's quote for the day, but tonight is not really so much a quote as it is a Thanksgiving message. It occurred to me as I was handing out candy during the recent Parade of Lights event how lucky we are to live in this great community. I was encouraged by the large amount of people who came out in support of our town. The smiles on the little children's faces were priceless. What we have today didn't just happen by accident. I want to sincerely thank past and present city council members, members of our many boards and commission, and numerous other community leaders. I want to thank the members of law enforcement for keeping us safe. I want to thank our fire rescue personnel, first responders, and the medical professionals for good health and wellness. Last, but certainly not least, I want to thank our city employees for their hard work and dedication. During this Thanksgiving holiday, let us all reflect on the many blessings we have received over this past year. Happy Thanksgiving to all. All right, we shall move on to tonight's agenda. I will ask council first of all if there's any additions or corrections. I do have one that I would like to add, and under citizens' comments, Annette Watson would like to address the council, so we can add her to the citizens' comments portion. And I'll ask the council, are there any other additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we have no public hearings tonight. We shall move on to reading and approval of our regular meeting minutes from November 10th, 2025.
I will move approval of the regular minutes from November 10 meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve our November 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we have the next up is the condensed version of those same minutes from November 10th, 2025.
I'll move approval of the condensed version of the minutes from November 10th, 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion and a second to approve the condensed version of the minutes from November 10th, 2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And next before us is our consent agenda, which tonight consists of audit of city bills, the Morris Public Library Board meeting minutes from October 7th, 2025, and our City of Morris Tree Board meeting minutes from October 15th, 2025. And I guess I can move approval of those items on the consent agenda.
I will second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. I'll bring it back over to the city council for discussion.
I see line item 16, Compass Minerals America for snow, ice department salt. Do we still share or use the state highway department facilities with a mix?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's my understanding.
Any further discussion, on any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we shall move on to petitions, requests, and communications. We have an appointment to a board. Let's see. Blaine, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, well, I was at the library board meeting, and I think there's an assumption it was already done, but it wasn't done, so Bob couldn't participate, but Bob Gallagher was a recommendation to be put on the library board.
All right, I guess I can move approval of appointing Bob Gallagher to the library board.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Just
We have
a
a motion
question.
and a second to
Wait,
approve
one
Bob
second.
Gallagher, or appoint Bob Gallagher to the library board.
I just had a question, because
Yeah.
it seems like in one of the boards, we had somebody actually didn't they write like they wanted to be part of that board? And then did we discuss that, or it's not a big, I mean, was there a process, that we decided to do, or not really? However.
I think we
however
had
the-
some discussion about possibly opening it up and kind of like an interview process or something, but I don't know that we ever really took action on that.
Okay, it just seems like somebody did do that, not, I
If we
mean,
get multiple applicants,
multiple.
but I suppose if there was a vacancy, did we post the vacancy? I don't know. I think
No,
that's
probably
what.
not. Normally what happens is, the board itself would identify that somebody's leaving, and then I would always ask them to think about good candidates to put on the board, and then to make a recommendation back to the city. If we get somebody that, I remember one time where somebody sent a letter and said, I'm interested in any board that's got an opening because I want to serve in the city and stuff like that. So then we would let the board chairs know that somebody's interested in being on a board. In this case, they had somebody that they were interested in putting on the board, and they're recommending that.
Yeah, no, I didn't, it's
Yeah.
just I thought we discussed a process, and if we never followed through with it, that's fine, but,
So I think,
yeah. What
I,
was-
that was partially, if I remember correctly, we had 4 or 5
Yes,
voice
So it was
interest
multiple.
in
one spot.
planning commission.
Okay,
And,
Yep.
and that was part of the discussion. We approved a member to be on, but I believe our discussion around that was if
If we have multiple applicants, maybe we
suggest
bring them all in
writing
and
a-
interview
yeah.
them.
But there's no action.
I don't think we took a
No.
formal
Okay.
action on it.
Just a comment, if I might, I think there's another vacancy as well on the library board. There was discussion at that library board meeting that I really attended,
mhm.
where that was a conversation. that they
You
had.
didn't illegally.
I know, it's a public proceeding, but there's another,
Yes, there is another
conversation about
position.
another
Yep,
candidate.
yep, there is another position. And it has nothing to do with you on here, Bob. I was just like, what is the process? So once again, that that we're all following it. If that's what we kind of came to a discussion about, if there's multiple, people vying for the one position. But yes, there will be potential another opening. There was discussion of there is gonna be another opening on the library board, so.
And maybe when we have our organizational meeting in January, that is maybe a topic we could
Mhm,
talk
yep.
about probably a little further.
Yep.
Yep,
All right, great.
Thank you, Bob, for that.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you
Oh,
for
you're welcome.
volunteering. I suppose we better make it official. All
Yep.
those in favor of appointing Bob to the library board signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same side. Motion carries. All right, next before us, we have a change order number 2 for our Morris Municipal Liquor Store, and I'll bring it over to Blaine. He can.
Yeah, I think, and I'm wondering if you can't just do a motion to approve all three of these change orders. So there's 3 separate change orders,
Okay.
and one of them is for interior doors and metal frames, another one for soffits and ductwork, and the last one is for windows. Apparently, they were gonna do something with windows, and now they don't want to do that, so they're removing that from the contract. So there's 3 change orders, looking for a motion to approve those 3 change orders.
I guess it makes sense to do just one motion for all
Yeah.
3. Any discussion from members of the council?
Looks pretty straightforward. I'll move approval of change order number 2, 3, and 4 for the Morse Municipal Liquor Store.
Oh.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve change order number 2, 3, and 4 for the Morris Municipal Liquor Store. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we shall move on to our ordinances and resolutions. Our first resolution before us is a resolution for limited use permit 7504-0010 with MinDOT. Before I bring it to a vote, I'd just like to ask council if they've received any written communication ahead of time regarding any of their resolutions, but in particular this one. We'll probably deal with each one individually if there's any, if you received any written communication. Nothing from City Hall either, I imagine, so. Okay. I'll just, Blaine, you wanted to shed some light
Yeah,
on
so
that?
this is actually more of a maintenance. When I first saw this, I thought, I wasn't quite sure what they're doing, but this is more of a maintenance thing because we already had a sign permit from MinDOT. In order to put up our Welcome to Morris signs along the Minnesota highways, you have to get a sign permit from them. And so we do, I believe we have 5 signs that we put up and we have permits for them. This one's gonna expire, and so this is basically a renewal of the permit to be able to have that sign out on the north east corner of Highway 28 and 59 bypass. So it's pretty straightforward.
Are they all gonna expire at some point?
Probably at some point. I haven't seen anything else. I'm not sure why this one came up by itself, but it could be
Yeah.
that they're getting around to permits and stuff like that. I haven't had a chance to talk to the permit guy, but
And how long is this one good for?
this one is actually good through,
February of 36?
I think so, 36.
Okay, I just was looking through here and I found it.
February 8th, 2036.
Leave it to MinDOT to have a 40-some page agreement.
I
Just to put
know.
up a sign.
Unbelievable.
To have,
Well-
renew the permit for the sign that's
Yeah.
been there for,
Couldn't believe it.
It's always fun working with them.
Any further discussion on that resolution?
So basically, it's just a sign, it's not talking about maintenance or
No, it's
just
just
putting the
being
sign up
able to
there.
put a
Keep
sign.
the sign up there
on their
until
right of way.
February of 2036.
In the right of way.
Yep.
Okay.
I will move on the resolution for a limited use permit 7504-0010 with Minnesota DOT.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second regarding resolution for a limited use permit 7504-0010 with MinDOT. I'll ask Carolina for a roll call vote on that resolution, please.
Councilmember Solby,
Yes.
Corrals,
Yes.
Culliton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Next resolution before us is a resolution approving a joint powers agreement with LCSC for health insurance. And I'll bring it over to Blaine, he can discuss
Yeah,
that.
so we go through, Midwest Health Benefits is a local company that looks at health insurance for us, and they went out and looked at different quotes for health insurance, and what we found was the best quote that matched for us was under the Minnesota Healthcare Consortium, which is administered by Lakes Country Service Cooperative. They used to administer their own insurance, but it was really difficult because the group wasn't large enough to keep maintaining a good premium and stuff like that. I think at one time the city was part of Lakes Country Service Cooperative for that, and now what's happened is all these school co-ops have gone into a consortium to provide health insurance, so their group is big, and they're able to provide a much better rate. So we've already indicated that we're going to be a member of this Minnesota Healthcare Consortium, but one of the things that we have to do is we have to enter into a joint powers agreement with Lakes Country Service Cooperative to be able to use their services. And that's really all this is. We've been a member before, and actually some of the stuff we actually use already, like IT, we get some of that stuff, but this one is one of the requirements that they have. So Doug Wartner indicated that we needed to get this approved and into them. Interestingly enough, way back in the day when I first started as an administrator, the cities formed a co-op of cities, like Breckenridge and Morris and Fergus Falls and Detroit Lakes and all these cities. And then eventually the Lakes Country Service Cooperative let us roll into the service cooperative because originally they're just schools. And so now cities are able to get in on the services and stuff. So very good deal. I was very surprised at the rate that we got for health insurance because, there's a lot of cities that are looking at 10-20% increases in health insurance, and to get what we got was a good deal. So this is just kind of the final step of that process, is to approve this joint powers agreement.
Any questions from members of the council?
I will move approval of a resolution approving a joint powers agreement with Lakes Country Service Cooperative for the health insurance plan that we're planning on joining in with.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for roll call vote on that resolution, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Culliton,
Yes.
Corrals,
Yes.
Solby,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay, we have a resolution. Our next resolution, last one tonight, is a resolution authorizing fund transfer and closing of fund. So I'll bring it back to Blaine for that.
Yeah, so this goes back to 2022 when we had the big storm. And typically what happens is there's a disaster declared, and it's a massive process of keeping track of everything and being able to document stuff that we can apply back to FEMA for reimbursement for allowable expenses. If I remember right, during this one, normally they only allowed your overtime to be reimbursed because you're normally paying your employees and stuff like that. But in this case, they allowed regular time to be reimbursed. So they're gonna pay you for your time, your equipment, any supplies, all those kind of things, contracts. Like in this case, we had trees down, and so you're hiring like Craig Beyer and the tree companies and stuff to do work. And then in the end, that money all goes into this fund, and you pay out all your bills and stuff like that, and whatever's left over, you move back into the capital outlay fund. And some of the costs were actually incurred, like in the general fund with labor and stuff like that, but at the end of the year, you close out anything into the capital outlay fund anyway, so that's what's really happening here, is you're closing out the storm fund into the capital outlay fund. It's a good deal. It's not a good deal because you're normally supposed to be doing your regular stuff and you have to stop everything and do this. And, you know, the city did a fantastic job of dealing with everything that needed to be done. And it's really a testament to the city crews and the staff that FEMA will come in and take a look at everything and then approve your disaster grant and reimburse you for all the things that you're asking for.
Well, I will move approval of that resolution authorizing the fund transfer and closing of the 2022 Storm Fund 206 and moving it to the Capital Outlay Fund 202.
I will second.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second approving the resolution authorizing fund transfer and closing of fund. And once again, Caroline, I'll ask for a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Gollison,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes.
Correll,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. All right, city manager's newsletter.
So I'll touch on some of the stuff, but not all of it. That's the way I did it before. First and foremost is that our truth and taxation notices went out indicating when the meeting's gonna take place, and if you looked at it really close, it's got the wrong date. It says December 14th, which is a Sunday, not December 9th, which is the day of the actual budget hearing. And so then in talking with the county auditor, you know, basically we're getting the word out on all the platforms that we can get the word out on, that this is the correct date, because that's when the budget hearing is going to take place, and that will suffice to deal with the state of Minnesota as far as the requirements for truth and taxation. We'll probably put a note in with our final report to them on truth and taxation. So I'll talk about it on Community Connection tomorrow morning too, that's what we're doing. So that's one big note. I did take over duties. I started working with Rebecca, you know, pretty much when you guys hired me to be the acting city manager. We've gone over a lot of stuff, including the budget, and quite frankly, I am amazed at how much stuff's going on in Morris. It is just, it's almost overwhelming, you know, but I've had a chance to reach out to talk to a bunch of different people about all the projects that are going on and things like that, and I'll continue doing that. It's kind of fun to see everything that's happening in Morris, and we'll continue working on all these things and making sure everything's being done the right way. I did reach out to some community members that have questions and concerns, and offered to sit down and meet with them, and have met with a couple different people. And my whole reason for doing that is, typically I believe that the way the city manager form of government works is the city manager works for the city council, and then the city manager is really the contact point for the public. Doesn't mean you can't go to your elected representatives, share your thoughts, ask questions, concerns, but the easiest way to get an answer to your question is just ask me. And so I've had some questions come up and I've answered them. The last city council meeting, we had some questions about bill lists and stuff like that, and I reached out and answered those questions and provided information. You can still, you know, come to citizens' comments, make your comments. But like I said, the fastest way to get information is to contact the city manager, because the city manager has pretty much all the information that's going to the council for action. And this is a meeting of action for the city council members. And that's the way it should be. I was very happy with the decorum that was had in the last couple meetings that I attended, so it was kind of nice to see. But you got to let you guys do your work, and you do a very good job. But if community members want to reach out to me, they can. I'm open to that, and I'll continue doing that. Budget preparation, we sat down, we looked at the budget. I'm gonna come in and tweak it all, and I've got the budget presentation format for the meeting on the 9th. And I have a couple thoughts about what to do with the tax levy maybe, and to maybe move a couple things around, but in the end, it's all pretty much done. And then we'll make that presentation at the next meeting and get the budget approved for next year. And I would just make this comment, although the city is very busy. Typically, for me as a city manager, once the budget was done and presented to the public and approved, it quieted down. So a lot of times I would use vacation at the end of December because that was a quieter period for me, whereas with Whitney and the finance department, that is the busiest time of the year, because now they're going into finishing out the books and getting ready to meet with auditors after the beginning of the year. And it's just important to keep that under consideration. And then finally, I moved the nuisance ordinance back. And the reason I did that is because the next step would have been to have the first reading of the ordinance, set a public hearing for it, and then have the second reading and public hearing, and then decide what you wanted to do with it. December 9th is gonna be our budget meeting. The next meeting's I think the 23rd, which is the day before Christmas Eve, not a good time for a public hearing. So really, you should put it back in January, and then we can do it the right way. And then other than that, you can kind of read the rest of it. I did go to the library board meeting and planning commission meeting, and my plan is to continue reaching out to the different departments and committees and stuff like that. So everything's going good right now.
I see that we're moving along at Wells Park. I think that's gonna be so great for that park, that new building and everything. I think that's great. I see that's moving, the liquor store's up. We're working on the
Getting
walls
there.
on it now, and the building next to it, it's like,
Yep.
poof, that just came
Yeah.
up, and
Yep.
I'm like, poof, it's changing a lot over there.
Yeah, and I stopped and talked to the guys digging the hole at the old elementary school, because that was quite the operation. But they're putting in the underground parking now.
It's gonna make a big snow pile.
Well, they're hauling it out now.
I
Yeah.
know, but it's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's still big.
You get blasted over 7th Street pretty fast.
We were talking just briefly about the liquor store project, how it's coming along. Any discussion on listing the old liquor store? Are we? where are we at with that?
Not yet, but in a lot of the discussion, I think we forget that, that has value. You know, that, I think I went on even though we don't pay taxes, I went on the tax site, and I think the estimated value of that right now is about $400,000 of that building, and that's money that's gonna go back into the liquor store, you know, once that building is sold. And I would guess with the parking lot and the building, it's a good building, it's gonna be of interest to a lot of people.
Yeah, good.
If anyone has interest in it, I've had some people question me, but just to contact City Hall.
Sure.
And when we
Yep.
do something, to have a list of anyone potentially interested in
Yep.
it. But I think when Rebecca was still here, said there was 2 or 3 different parties had contacted us that was potential interest. So if there is interest, yes, let City Hall know and put them on a list.
Do we have to publicly list that property, Blaine? I guess
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, you have to make it you have to, anytime you're selling land and
Yeah.
your assets, even if we're selling something small at the
Right.
public workshop, you know, we always, although, with some of the equipment, there is a state auction site that's considered acceptable, because everybody has access to it. But in this case, land or buildings, you're gonna have to
Right.
find a way to, make sure that everybody's got a chance to put their name in a
okay.
bid.
All right. Any questions from Alpha City Manager's newsletter? All right, hearing none. Thank you for the update, Blaine, appreciate that. Bring it over to the city council. Any board updates that you'd care to share on your various boards that you're on? Now would be a good time for that. Yeah, I just, you know, the Parade of Lights, that of course is a chamber function, and wow, there was like 34 elements in that parade. I was just amazed when I was walking down the main street. As I looked up and down Main Street on both sides, it was just jam-packed with people. That was fun to see.
I don't necessarily have a board update, but it popped to mind, obviously, with what we did under petitions and requests and your comment about potential opening on the library board, another one. We're at that time of year, you know, start of new term, on some of the boards and commissions, and so if anyone's interested, to encourage them to reach out to not only the boards but the city hall as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think our city website's up to date, isn't it, with regards to all the various boards and who's on them and all that good stuff? Good, for the most part, good, all right. Okay, any other business to come before the city council? Okay, now on to the other business. Now we will bring it up to the citizens' comments portion of our meeting, and Annette Watson would like to approach the council.
Annette Watson, Morris, and I already asked my question at the beginning, which was, if you ever have a snow day or it's canceled, how would the public know? And I think the answer is, it's always here, all the time, and then if there is not a quorum, then you just don't have a meeting. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other business to come before the council? Hearing none, meeting